April 8, 1943, 27,000 feet above occupied France. From the cockpit of his FW-190, Luftwaffe ace Oberleutnant Rolf Herrmeichen watched the American fighters climbing below him and couldn't help but smile. Massive, slow, struggling for altitude, the New Republic P-47 Thunderbolts looked ridiculous compared to sleek German interceptors. "Flying milk bottles," German pilots joked over the radio. 16 P-47s of the U.S. 4th Fighter Group pushed upward, their powerful Pratt and Whitney R2-800 engines hauling 7 tons of metal into thin air. Barrel-shaped fuselages, oversized propellers, wings that seemed far too small. To the veterans of the Luftwaffe, these American machines looked like a mistake. What the Germans didn't know was that they were witnessing the arrival of the aircraft that would break their fighter force. The Thunderbolt was not built to turn tightly or climb lightly. It was built around mass, power, and brutal firepower. 8 synchronized .50 caliber Browning machine guns, 3,400 rounds of ammunition, and a combined rate of fire approaching 6,000 rounds per minute. At convergence range, that meant seconds of concentrated destruction. Early combat seemed to confirm German confidence. The P-47 struggled in turning fights, climbed poorly at low altitude, and suffered losses in its first months. German pilots reported it was slow, clumsy, easy prey. British observers quietly questioned the American choice, but something important was being missed. Thunderbolts that went down often absorbed astonishing damage first. Aircraft returned riddled with cannon holes, engines shot through, control surfaces shredded, damage that would have destroyed lighter fighters. The massive radial engine lacked vulnerable coolant systems, and the airframe was built like armor. And when a P-47 finally got its guns on target, the results were devastating. That truth became impossible to ignore on June 26, 1943, when Lieutenant Robert S. Johnson's Thunderbolt was nearly destroyed over France. Hit repeatedly by 20-millimeter cannon fire, wounded, blinded by oil, his aircraft should not have flown again. Yet it stayed airborne. Even after a German pilot emptied his remaining ammunition into the crippled P-47, the American fighter refused to fall. Johnson landed in England with over 200 holes in his aircraft. German pilots were stunned. American engineers were shocked. The Thunderbolt had survived the impossible. By mid-1943, U.S. pilots learned how to fight the P-47 properly. Don't turn, don't dogfight. Use altitude, speed, and weight. Dive from above, fire once, and destroy. From high altitude, the Thunderbolt was unstoppable. It dove faster than any German fighter could follow, converting speed into altitude again and again. When 8 heavy machine guns opened fire, enemy aircraft didn't fall. They disintegrated. German laughter faded quickly. By late 1943, P-47s ruled the skies above 25,000 feet. By 1944, improved variants climbed faster, escorted bombers deep into Germany, and tore through Luftwaffe formations. Pilots who once mocked the Thunderbolt now feared it. Then the P-47 went lower. Armed with bombs and rockets, it became flying artillery. Columns vanished. Railways burned. German troops learned to recognize its sound. A deep, thunderous roar that meant death from above. By D-Day, hundreds of Thunderbolts filled the sky, crushing any attempt to challenge Allied air power. What began as a joke ended as a nightmare. German pilots who laughed at the P-47 in 1943 admitted the truth by war's end. It was not elegant. It was not subtle. It was unstoppable. 8 Browning machine guns, relentless American production, and pilots trained to exploit both turned the Thunderbolt into one of the most feared aircraft of the war. The laughter ended when the guns spoke, and once they did, the sky belonged to America.